Joseph Maguire. You replaced him with your ambassador to Germany, Grinnell. Some of your critics have pointed out that Ambassador Grinnell has no intelligence experience. How can you justify to the American people having an acting DNI with no intelligence
Okay,
experience?
first of all, I want no help from any country, and I haven't been given help from any country. And if you see what CNN, your wonderful network, said, I guess they apologized in a way for, didn't they apologize for the fact that they said certain things that weren't true? Tell me, what was their apology yesterday? What did they say?
Mr. President, I think our record on delivering the truth is a lot better than yours sometimes,
Your
if you don't
record
mind me
is,
saying.
let me tell you about your record. Your record is so bad you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You have probably
I'm
the
not
worst
ashamed of
record.
anything, and our
You probably have the
organization
worst
is not
record in the
ashamed,
history
sir.
of broadcasting. As far as Maguire is concerned, he's a terrific guy, but you know, on March 11th, his time ended anyway, so his time came up. So we would have had to, by statute, we would have had to change him anyway. So the
Will your
time
new
was there.
DNI have experience
I
in the
think,
intelligence
yes,
field?
yes. In fact, we're talking to 5 different people right now. I think all people that you know, all people that you respect, and I'll make a decision probably over the next week to 2 weeks. We have some very good people. But Joe Maguire is a very excellent guy. He's a very good man. And his time was March 11th. I believe it was March 11th where he would have had to leave.
Was he
But we
forced
are
out
going
because he
to-
wasn't sufficiently loyal to you?
No, not at all. Not at all. He was pushed out because, frankly, wasn't pushed out. He would have had to get out. On March 11th, he would have had to leave. But we're going to be making a decision on DNI very shortly.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Well, that's not nice. Yeah, let her do it.
let's go
I
one by
know,
one.
but you ripped the mic out of her hand. You can't do that.
so rude.
Boy, that wasn't very nice.
President Trump, I hope you're having a good visit here in India. I'm Ruchi Bhatia from ET Now. We have heard from Prime Minister Modi as well as you on a long impending trade deal. It's still not happened. Even today we heard both you and him talking about how in future there is going to be one. Have you been able to figure out the kind of differences that were there
Yeah,
earlier?
we know the
especially on data localization, that has been one of the sticky points.
Sure. We know the problems. I know the problems. Previous administrations had no clue. They didn't know the problems. I know the problems. We're being charged large amounts of tariffs, and can't do that. Can't do that. And so they understand that that's where I am, and if they want to deal with us, and they will, they're going to, just like China. Everybody said you'll never make a deal with China. I made a deal with China. It's a great deal. They're going to buy $250 billion worth of product, and that's only a piece of the deal. It's a large piece. It's probably 40 to 50%, but it's an incredible deal. In addition to that, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs that we can now use for phase 2, because they want to get rid of the 25%. So we have the 25%, they want to get rid of it. Well, with India is, I think, the highest, again, I said it before, but the highest tariff when you deal with India. Harley Davidson has to pay tremendous tariffs when they send motorcycles in here. When India sends motorcycles into the U.S., there's virtually no tariff. For the most part, there is absolutely no tariff. So I just said that's unfair, and we're working it out. We're working it out. Go ahead.
Good evening, President.
I think we'll win that one easily. We're working on that. Yeah. We're working on that. Yeah.
Good evening, President. This
It's
is
just
Anurag
not a fair
Parekh.
situation when one company is paying 100% in the case of numerous companies, not just Harley, but where they're paying tremendous. And actually tariffs were raised not too long ago. And we also did something. There was a form of rent control that was, if you put it in a different sense, it was given to India, and we terminated that. You know that. We terminated it. No, we're talking. We have great discussions. Look, I can't lose this. I can't lose it. You know why? I'll never lose it. It's too easy, because I want reciprocal. It has to be reciprocal. And the money you're talking about is major, but the United States has to be treated fairly. And India understands that. The relationship is outstanding, but India understands that. We've had a tremendous deficit for many, many years with India, with everybody, you know, with, frankly, so many different countries. We've had a massive, massive deficit, but a large deficit, $30 billion with India. It's now down to $24 billion because of what we've been doing, but still that's too high. We shouldn't have a $24 billion deficit. With other countries, we have more than that. Japan, we're doing now $40 billion is coming in. A lot of very good deals are being made, and they'll be kicking in toward the end of the year. I would say if the deal happens with India, it will be toward the end of the deal. And if it doesn't happen, we'll do something else. It'll be very satisfactory. It'll be very good. Go ahead. Who else? Yeah.
President, my question is that you said at the time of the Article 370 abrogation that you would like to mediate in Kashmir, but India rejected it.
No, I'd
What
like
is
to be
your-
able
what
to.
is
No,
your-
excuse me. I didn't
my
say.
question is
Wait.
something different.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about that. I just said Kashmir. Obviously, there's a big problem between Pakistan and India, and I think they're going to work out their problem. But I will say they've been doing it for a long time.
Okay, my
that
question is
problem's
something
been there
different
for
at
a
the
long
moment.
time.
What is your position at the moment on India's Citizen Amendment Act at the moment?
I don't want to discuss that. I want to leave that to India, and hopefully they're going to make the right decision for the people. That's really up to India.
President,
Yeah,
good
go
evening.
ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
My name is Nilüfer Sahravardi, an Indian journalist, and I have a very simple question.
Go ahead.
Now, back home, when you reflect upon your tour of India, the first diplomatic visit to the country, how would you describe it? Cultural diplomacy, Trump diplomacy, or do you have any other word for that?
Well, first of all, I describe it as incredible because when I looked at the various things, like today, when we went, you probably saw where we were, and when you look at all of the things that we've seen today, when we look at yesterday the Taj Mahal and other things, in addition to working in between and even during, where we worked very long and hard with representatives from India, most particularly with the Prime Minister. I just think it's an incredible country. It's got unbelievable energy. You see that when you come in from the plane. When you see from, I think I can say, virtually from the plane to whatever venue we were going to, it was wall-to-wall people. They've never seen anything like it. Somebody said it was the greatest greeting ever given to any head of state from any country. Now, India has more people than any other country, a little bit more than China,
How
a little
would you
bit tiny.
describe it diplomatically? Is it Trump diplomacy?
I
cultural
think the diplomacy is a diplomacy of great friendship and respect, and I think it's going to all work out very well. I really do. I admire your country tremendously. I respect your Prime Minister tremendously, and I think it's really a diplomacy of friendship, and I think it's going to work out very well. Okay? Okay? Go ahead, please. Please, go ahead. Right next to Steve.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, the Chinese government recently ejected several Wall Street Journal reporters. What is your administration considering to do in retaliation to that move? Are you considering banning or restricting the access Chinese journalists, for example, have to the United States?
So I haven't really been given a full briefing on that. We're going to look at it. We will look at it. It's something that I don't like to see. I don't think it's fair because we give very good access. Maybe some people would say we give too good. I don't believe in that. I think we give very good access, so I don't think it's fair. But we'll have a decision made on that relatively soon. Okay? Thank you. Good question. Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Venezuela. So will you allow
Yeah.
Indian companies to continue to buy Venezuelan oil from third parties, especially when you have
Well,
sanctions?
you'll be
those
seeing
lifts?
something on that in the not-too-distant future. Yeah.
So there could be more stringent sanctions against Venezuela?
There could be very serious sanctions.
Or against the Indian companies continuing
Now,
to
what's
buy the
happening
Venezuelan-
in Venezuela is so sad. People are starving. Here's a case where a country was wealthy 15 years ago and very wealthy 20 years ago. Very, very wealthy. The wealthiest in all of Latin South America, the wealthiest, and by far, not even a contest. And when you look today, they don't have water, they don't have basic food, they have no medicine. It's incredible what's happened in Venezuela. No, we're watching Venezuela very closely. We don't like it. We don't like it. Not at all. Okay? You're going to see in a little while. You're asking a question right in the middle of us doing something. Go ahead, please.
Ali McBall from BBC. There were some back home that were hoping you would raise concerns about some of these policies that Prime Minister Modi's introduced that discriminates against Muslims, and also about a rise in hate crimes here in India. But as someone
Well, we
who,
did discuss that, and we discussed that, and specifically Muslims, and we also discussed Christians.
but someone
And
who
I had a very powerful answer from the Prime Minister. We talked about religious liberty for a long period of time in front of a lot of people, and I had a very, very powerful answer. And as far as Muslims are concerned, as he told me, I guess they have 200 million Muslims in India, and a fairly short while ago they had 14 million. And he said that they're working very closely with the Muslim community.
But sir, you yourself have been criticized for policies that have discriminated against Muslims, like the travel ban. There's also been a rise in hate crimes over the last couple of years in the US. So are you in a position to talk to him about those subjects?
Yeah, I won the travel ban, as you probably know. A lot of people said I lost it. No, I won the travel ban, and we use the travel ban where we think there's, not based on religion, but where we think there's going to be trouble, where we're looking at certain countries. As you know, we added a few countries onto it. But we won the travel ban, and we won it in the Supreme Court. So the travel ban is not a thing against Muslims. It's a thing against areas where we don't want people coming into our country that are going to cause problems, cause harm, cause death, hurt our people. And I feel very strongly about that. Okay, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Ching Yishan with Shanghai Media Group. I'd like to know, some people say that India could be to the U.S. in Asia during the 21st century what the UK was in Europe during the 20th century. How do you view it?
Well, I think that India is going to be a tremendous player over the next, it's now, right? But over the next period of 50 years and 100 years, look, you're talking about the largest population in the world. You're talking about a tremendous country in terms of its heritage, its potential wealth, frankly. Right now, they have incredible potential. Economically, they have great potential. Their schooling system is getting better all the time. They're doing a fantastic job in certain sectors with respect to education. We see it in the United States. We see it. We have a lot of Indian students coming to our schools. They're great students, and they've done fantastically well at our schools. But we have, thousands and thousands of people coming from India coming to our colleges in particular, schools, but our colleges in particular. No, India's got a phenomenal future. I mean, you can rarely think of a place that has a better future than India, and highly respected, especially with leadership like Prime Minister, right? Modi. Yeah. Go ahead. Pick one. Go ahead.
So, Ritu Panda from CNBC TV 18 India. American companies have been investing in India for a long, long time. Are you satisfied with the Indian investment regime, especially on issues like multi-brand retail and e-commerce, on which companies from US have a lot of interest in?
So I'm very satisfied because they're investing tremendous amounts of money. I met Mr. Patel a little while ago. He's the largest steel person in the world by far. I don't think there's even a contest. And he's going to be building a $1 billion plant in Alabama. We had the press, I left him in there, always a risky thing to do. But if you see let's say we answered 15 questions, they were talking about how much better it is to work in the United States now in terms of their investment. They have done a fantastic job. These are some of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world. I'm not even sure if the media really understood who they were. I knew many of them, certainly heard of all of them. The job they've done is incredible. But Mr. Patel, who's the biggest steel company, certainly the biggest steel individual, but I think he's the biggest steel company by a lot. He's investing billions of dollars in the United States, and he's only doing it because of what I've done to bring back the steel industry. The steel industry was dead, absolutely dead in the United States, and now it's a vibrant industry. It's incredible, and we need it. Again, we need it for defense. It's not just like certain industries that you don't need. We need it for defense. But he was glowing, and one of the reasons he's spending $1 billion in Alabama and more money in other places in the United States is because we brought it back. So we're very proud of that. So I think what we'll do is we're going to see some of you on the plane on the way back. It's been an honor to be here. It's an incredible place with incredible leadership. and an unbelievable future. And I just want to thank you all, and I'll see you back in the States. And I think some of you are on the plane, and we can talk a little bit on the plane.